There we go. Well, welcome, Rob. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm joined by Rob, who does photography and videography for clinics. So I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you.
Yeah, likewise. It's great to chat to you. And so my name's Rob. I run a business called Got the Shot, and a lot of our business is both video and photo for clinical practices, which, obviously I understand that you coach a lot.
Yeah. I mean, probably 95% of all my clients are in the private healthcare sector, so physios, osteos, speech and language therapists, OTs, you name it, in the sector. And then I have a few different clients that are completely not related, but mostly we are in the sector.
Absolutely. I mean, that's fast becoming the case for our business. You know, the more clinics that we take on as clients, the more that kind of snowballs, and the more we do, the better we get at it. So I can imagine we're going to be in the same position before long.
Before long.
Yeah.
So how did you actually develop an interest in working with private clinics specifically?
So I did a video for an accountant, and I know that sounds weird, but both myself and Michael from HMDG share the same accountant, and just so happened to do a video for our accountant, and they for some reason shared it with him. He liked it, which was good. He just gave me a call out of the blue and said, I need someone to service all our clients. He's got a lot of clients. They're all constantly developing websites, therefore constantly need photos, videos for the clinics. So we had a chat, came to an arrangement, sent us on our first one, and then it's been sending lots and lots ever since.
Brilliant. Oh, that's excellent. And so it is really great to have someone that's specialist. So it's just like with HMDG, they're specialist in developing websites in the sector.
Yes.
And it does make a difference.
Oh, massively. You know, the more we've shot, already had an interest in, health and fitness, and had previously shot with people in the dental industry, healthcare industry, and physios as well before. And so, I'm genuinely curious about, what this industry does. And therefore, it leads me to kind of ask the right questions when we're interviewing someone, and just has a genuine interest. Like, there's not a clinic that I go to and, I'm pointing at a piece of equipment and say, what's that? Tell me more about that, or can I try it? There was a clinic in Harley Street recently, and they had a Nordic curl for your hamstrings, to test your hamstring strength, and taking photos and say, can I just have a go, please? So I'm genuinely interested in what the industry does.
Brilliant. And then, so what do you think are the unique challenges or opportunities that you find in capturing images for healthcare practices?
So I would say on kind of two fronts. The first is, how do we separate these clinics? We're taking photos of lots of different clinics. How do we make them not all look the same? And a lot of that comes from an in-depth brief. So I have a series of questions about what motivates that clinic owner, what are they trying to achieve, what's their individual mission. And so I really try and drill down on what's important to them, and then we try and capture that in the videos. And essentially, when you interview people, everyone is different, and everyone has different personalities, and my job is to try and bring that out in the videos, because that's the reason their patients go there. That's why they stick with them, is because they enjoy that person. As much as they make them feel better, it is a people-to-people business. And then on the flip side of that is, in general, it's just, how do we make these images not look like stock images? Because a lot of clinics use that. To me, it's, in the industry, it's extremely obvious what is a stock photo and what is a genuine photo of that clinic. So we're trying to achieve high quality images, but to make them personal, to not make them look like stock images, essentially.
Years ago, I was going to visit a clinic, and I went onto the website and I saw this picture of the team, and I thought, okay, great, I've got this now pictured. They didn't have individual profiles, but there was this big picture of the team. And I got there and I was like looking around thinking, where is it?
I'm in the wrong place.
And it was it was obviously a stock image, but I hadn't realized.
No, of course. Well, exactly. And I mean, there's nothing worse than, what I'm trying to do and what I try and tell clinics is that they want to see you. They need to trust you before they walk in that door. For someone like myself, happy to walk in any place, and I'm fairly comfortable. I can cope, but it's a big step for some people. And so if they can see someone in a photo, or even better in a video, and they feel like they know them before they come in, it's a far easier step for them to take, to just walk in that clinic and maybe finally get their back issue sorted, or get back to their usual life. So
I think that's almost answered the next question that I'd have, is in what is the role of photography, in kind of promoting the therapy business. And so there's an element of promoting it, but actually that establishing that rapport is so important. I mean, if I'm going to a new practice for treatment, the first thing I do is go and read up about the therapist, go and look.
Yeah.
And then, sometimes you read about the therapist, or if you were to watch a video and it's just all about their qualifications, and you're not connecting with the actual person. So I guess that photography gives you not just the head and shoulders of the person, but you can capture more about them, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, our business kind of sits in the middle of that patient journey. Someone like Michael at HMDG, they're designing a beautiful website, they're doing the SEO, they're doing the ad campaigns to get that person onto the website. My job at that stage is then to provide images and videos that mean that person then consolidates the decision and knows that that's the right clinic, whether that's be through they think they know them, or think this looks like a modern clinic, they look like they invest in a lot of up-to-date equipment. And my role, as I say to clinic owners, is to get them to then book. And then once they're in the clinic, that's when they take over. That's where their personality comes in. Yeah. And I say to clinicians all the time, use layman's terms in your videos, because if you use technical jargon, you're only appealing to other therapists, and you're only stroking your own ego, because they're not your clients. Although you might seem clever to other professionals, the reality is they're not going to pay your bills. So that's my role, is to condense it, consolidate it, and make it simple for someone to understand, to get them to walk in the clinic for that first time.
Yeah. And then, so in terms of your approach to the the actual sessions, so you've mentioned already that you obviously do quite a in-depth pre-work and get to answer questionnaires, and but I suppose what I want to know is what is your kind of approach to really capture the essence of the clinic?
So I would say, getting to know them. I want to understand why people like them, and that's usually pretty obvious the minute you walk in. You can only get a certain sense of someone by email and phone, and then for the vast majority, everyone that I've been to has been absolutely lovely, and I think I know why people come here. So for me, it's making the clinicians, the staff there, comfortable enough to bring that out and feel confident in front of the camera. So we have a range of techniques to make people not only feel happy, but look happy on camera, make sure they're smiling the whole way through. So there's an element of coaching involved to coax that personality out of them. I hope that answers your question. I feel like I rambled a little bit there.
No, that's okay. I mean, I guess that leads to another question, is actually, you've just answered it really, is that you've got some techniques where you relax people in front of the camera, because I think a lot of people are going to feel uncomfortable and awkward.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I feel completely comfortable sitting here right now. It's a very normal practice. And so, some of the techniques and I guess kind of trade secrets, if you like, but I tell everyone, is when we're interviewing someone, which is the most taxing part of the shoot, people think, I'll just sit down and talk about my job, no problem. It's the hardest part, because not only are you talking and trying to sound like what you're talking about, you're also processing what you're saying next in your brain. So it's extremely demanding on you. So we try and get that out of the way first. Yeah. And it's always just a conversation between the two of us. Have someone manning the cameras so that side of thing is taken care of. We're just having a chat. We shoot things on 2 cameras so that, you say the first part of your answer really well, and then it just tails off and nosedives. take a cut there, let's have another stab at it, or let's just record the last part of what you said. I love the first part. And we'll just flip the angle, it'll cut to a second camera, or we'll overlay footage of what you're talking about. It's important to show, if you're talking about, we're using shockwave on an Achilles tendon, we want to see that on video. Not only is that visually more interesting, it's more engaging, but it gives the potential patients an idea of what's to come. And so by the end of that video, you're explaining a service, say, people should have no idea that you didn't say that in one monologue, if we've done our job correctly, I think.
Okay, and that's where your technical expertise comes in, and I think that's where a lot of clinics will maybe, especially for things if they're wanting to have a recording on their website, kind of a more formal introduction to the clinic, they hesitate doing that because they don't have a skill set to actually go through that whole process and make it a seamless process. I think, there'll be other times where it's appropriate for them to just do a quick reel, or,
100%. Yeah. And I mean, people say, I'm not good in front of camera, or I don't know how to talk about my practice. But the reality is they do it every single day. If I walk into your clinic and you didn't know that I made videos, and I asked you about a problem that I was having, you wouldn't stutter or stumble. You would tell me exactly what I need to do. It's just that you suddenly become conscious because you think this is captured, in time forever. But the reality is, if I put a video out that makes you as a clinician look bad, that reflects poorly on me as well. So it's in my best interest to edit that down, make it as concise as possible, because then other clinicians are going to see it and go, wow, that was really slick, that video. And we get hired more. So we're both pulling in the same direction.
Yeah. It's amazing how when that camera suddenly is in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Something that you've been doing for 10, 15 years suddenly changes.
Oh, big time. And I totally get it. I filmed some videos for my business, and Christ, it was going to be only like a 45-second video. I think I had to do about 20 takes. So, I can't sit on my high horse and say, look, it's easy, just do it, because I've been in that same situation, and it's completely uncomfortable, and hence the reason why I chose a career behind the camera rather than in front.
Yeah, I mean, I know when with lockdown, I thought I'd do like an online course and stuff, and honestly, I'm still carrying, it's still in the background nagging at me, because when we started doing it, it was 1 take, 2 take, 3 take, 4 take, and I'm thinking I'm standing up in front of hundreds of people on stage, not worrying about it at all, and suddenly when there's a camera right in front of my face.
Well,
So I think you need someone professional like you to be in the room when you're doing those kind of videos.
And to be subjective. If I shoot a video and I edit my own video, I will be my harshest critic, and that's the case for everyone. So what you need is you film it and you think, God, that went terribly, and then you never see it again until it's polished. And so that's probably the best solution. You don't want to see your flaws again. It's quite demotivating and things like that. And to think that some people just get it first time every time. There are a few people like that, but that's only through years of practice.
Yeah. And so what kind of equipment do you typically use for your, when you're taking photography in physio clinics? So you've mentioned that you do 2 cameras.
Yes. Yeah. So it depends how I could really bore people here. I could really go into the weeds of what cameras we use, but essentially we have 4 cameras, and that's not to say that all 4 are on you at the same time. But generally an interview setup would look like 2 cameras, one that is a slightly wider field of view, one that's slightly tighter that we can cut back and forth from. We'll have a nice big, what we call the portable sun. So it's a big light. It's surprising how much light you actually need. And a lot of clinics, the treatment rooms don't have windows. So we need to light the space and to make you look pretty. And then we have 2 audio systems going. One that looks like it is a mic that pointing top down that you won't be able to see, and then one that's kind of clips on like I've got on now. So that's essentially why we're having 2 of everything, is to make sure things back up, because technical difficulties, we're not avoid from them. So we like to double back up everything. Then we'll have separate cameras. We'll have one for the purpose of photo with a nice bright flash on it. Again, just to light up the rooms, because nobody wants to see dark, dingy photos. We want to see light, bright, airy. We want that sort of, not to sound too flowery, but that euphoric type look, basically. You know, we don't want a dark Netflix series type vibe going on. And then we've got another camera that will shoot what we call B-roll. So me talking to you would be defined as A-roll. The B-roll is what sits on top, and that's all the lovely footage of, you know, what you're talking about. So and that's just in a, you know, an interview type video.
Okay. And are there any specific legal considerations or permissions or contracts involving photography in specifically in the healthcare setting?
So we have our own contracts. I don't claim to be a legal expert, hence the reason why someone else wrote it for me. So I send that off to, and that's mainly around, you know, things like revisions if required. And that just basically puts boundaries on our services. Not to say that those are very stringent, but obviously we have to have them. Otherwise, you know, it could go on and on and on effectively. But in terms of what clinic owners can do, it's just making sure you've got consent forms from any, you know, dummy patients, whether you're using actual patients, friends, family. It's just a belts and braces to just get them to sign something simple, to just say, yes, I'm happy to be in the footage. I'm happy for this to be used in our future marketing content, just because you don't want that to sort of come back and bite you further down the line.
And I think the other thing that I come up with quite often is, so let's say you go in and do a photo shoot at a clinic, and then 3 months later, 3 of the people that were in the photos, clinicians, are no longer there. So I guess you don't want to be going through that expense every 3 months. So I guess they need to get the permission from the clinician.
Absolutely,
that even post-employment or post-associateship, that they can carry on using that video footage.
Yeah, that's a great point, because they're effectively self-employed for a lot of the time. A lot of the clinics I go to, there's a lot of self-employed clinicians, but potentially the way that you can get that across to them. And I've had clinic owners where if that clinician is self-employed, they get access to the footage as well, because more than likely they've got branded clothing on anyway. And so the more that they push that out on their own social media, it's kind of giving you some additional marketing as well. So that's one way of selling that idea to your self-employed clinicians.
Yeah. And then is there anything else that you need to do to ensure that patient privacy and confidentiality during the photography process?
Yeah, well, I mean, during that kind of consent conversation, I think it's going to be pretty evident if someone doesn't want to be filmed or doesn't want to be photographed. You should make it abundantly clear that this is what they're here to do. Yes, the images will be edited, and so that's a positive in my mind, because if they've got a spot or a blemish, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to try and make them look their best, because the best images sell. But yeah, I mean, that should be abundantly clear. And I'd be very surprised if someone consented to be in photos, but then said, I don't want to be in any of your marketing content unless something happens in between. So yeah, it's just being abundantly clear what you're going to use them for. And then people can go into that decision with, yes, I know exactly what I'm getting myself in for here.
Yeah, and I know it should be obvious, but I have had one client mention that they arranged for a photo shoot, but they hadn't actually said anything to their patients, and they just thought on the day they'll ask the patients, and that was a bit awkward.
Yeah.
So I mean, that really kind of pre-warning. I mean, I suppose most photo shoots you'd be doing either without patients or very much proactively arranged patients.
Yeah, and you want patients that are proactive and they want to be in the photos, because they're going to be the ones that look the happiest, they're going to be most receptive, and they're going to be the best representation of your brand. So I have had clinics where for whatever reason someone's let them down. We have asked patients on the day, would you mind being in? One, you generally get a feel for who is quite a bubbly personality and who will likely want to be in that type of content. But then my job sometimes is to ask them, because then, if the clinic owner asks them, it can be slightly awkward. So I don't mind being that person that asks them, but ultimately then I'll pass them back to the clinic owner and say, look, get this person's permission. They've agreed to be in the photos. Can you just get a consent form signed so that we can use images and we don't waste our time effectively?
Yeah. Okay. And then what is your typical timeline for delivering the final photographs? And I know that's probably a bit like asking how long a piece of string is, because it depends, how long you're spending in the clinic, but I don't know if there's a typical turnaround time.
Yeah, so it can be misleading when I say the time frame to get all the content over, because the actual physical time spent on the editing doesn't take as long as it takes to actually deliver. So the reason being is that because it's purely on workflow, we're lucky enough to be extremely busy, and there's just a few of us currently, so we're trying to manage that workload, and that's more what that extended time period. So currently, as it stands, and this may change, it may be shorter, longer, we're saying 3 to 4 weeks to get all your content done. That's photos and videos. Yeah. That would be for a one-day shoot. Mm-hmm. Typically, to edit content like that, we are then spending double, triple that amount of time in order to edit that down. It takes a long time to effectively, we have to relive the day, so to speak. We have to relive the day once to throw out all the bad bits. Then we're putting them together, we're putting music together, we're animating your logo, we're reordering it to make it sound a bit better, we're putting different footage in there to see how that works, we're carefully editing all the photos, we're doing retouching, and that takes a lot of time. But it doesn't take as long as 3 to 4 weeks. That's purely based on a workload management.
Yeah, when you can kind of fit that work in.
Yeah, I mean, all the time you're shooting, you can't edit, so we're very busy, and it's there's a lot of late nights, weekends to try and get everyone there, because I do get it. A lot of people, they want to see it instantly, and if we provided the content instantly, you probably say, well, what have they done? I thought these guys were professionals, because a lot happens behind the scenes to bring those colors and those images to life.
Yeah. And then, so how do you handle your pricing and payments for your services? And, do you have any kind of packages? Do you do retainers? Just talk me through your kind of main service offering for this.
Yeah. So every, I know it's a classic answer, isn't it? Every quote is bespoke to that individual, because we shoot all over the country. We're based down in Kent. Last week we were in Cumbria. So that's someone would pay a different price in Cumbria to someone that's just down the road from us. But that base price generally stays the same. So currently, obviously things do change, but we're looking at about £2,000 for a shoot. And that whole day shoot, you would get a large library of photos. You would get a video about us. So this is us, this is a stake in the ground, this is what we stand for, this is what motivates us, these are the services that we offer. That's one video. Yeah. Then you would get various service videos. We can get around 5 done in a day. So individual to, say, maybe you've got one for manual therapy, you've got shockwave, you've got laser, for example, and that's explaining that individual service, and that sits on that page for that service. Yeah. And then you would also get a banner video included in that. And what I mean by a banner video is that at the top, at the header of your website, there'll be a rolling image. And what that's doing is it's playing silently, and it's showing visually what it looks like to walk into your clinic as a patient. Right. So you would see them walking in, they can see the signage at the front. So, when they're coming down the high street, you can say, oh yeah, I recognize this. This is what it looks like. They're walking in, they're seeing a friendly reception team, they're greeted with a smile. Then they're taken off by a professional clinician. They're, having a professional consultation, really in depth, really understanding, and then they're getting the full works of the treatments that you offer. So, people can visually see what it's going to be like to come into your clinic. And again, it's just more to put them at ease. It's visually interesting on your website. And so that's the general package that you're looking at. In terms of the library of photos, you're probably looking at around 300 plus images.
Oh, wow.
So it's also a lot of images. Obviously, some of those will be duplicates because people have kind of slight different expressions, and we'll include those because people are very picky on how they look in photos. So we give them the options.
Yeah.
So there's one or two that are effectively the same image, but
Yeah.
Ultimately, you should be able to populate your website with lots of videos and photos. We kind of, we haven't named it as such, but that's kind of the website package to get your website looking sharp. And it gives HMDG, who we work with a lot, all the content they need to make you an all singing, all dancing website.
Yeah. And then, so I guess those images then would almost mostly last the lifetime of a website. So when you would do your website update, you'd get you guys in again to update those videos, and unless you change along the way, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, staff's always changing. So staff headshots, you might be introducing new services. You might want to do different videos. That package is, the package to include things about your services, but things like testimonials are really powerful. FAQ videos are really popular. Make a list of all the questions you get asked on a daily basis and you're sick of answering. Answer it once in the best possible way you can once, and then direct people to the FAQ page. So there's so much scope for other content we can do, but that tends to be, HMDG is doing a new website. They need content. Rob, what have you got for us? Here's that package, but the scope is unlimited.
Yeah. Okay. So so in terms of that, then you'd have your initial kind of few days or day with you.
Yeah.
And then there could be on a monthly or quarterly basis, some kind of thing where you maybe come in and do a few videos or headshots and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always find that, working with the clinic second time round is always better. You've got an idea of their personality or their style and who they want to attract. And so it only gets better with time. We can offer half days, but that would be dependent on how far away you are. We wouldn't travel 5 hours to do a half day. Doesn't quite make sense
for a half day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't. That wouldn't be a smart business move by anyone's standard, would it? But yeah, I mean, that is essentially the kind of the package we do. And you asked about retainers. Yes, absolutely. We offer a discount. Like any business, regular cash flow is king. So, we can discuss on an individual basis about monthly retainers if you're looking to really push the amount of content that you're looking to get done.
Okay. Is there anything I should have asked that I haven't asked?
Good question. You're making me think now. No, I don't think so. I mean, that's essentially what we do. I guess one of the things that we do offer that people don't necessarily associate with the type of service that, they think that they hire us and then they've got to figure it all out on their own. A big part of what we do is like a coaching element. So I will coach you through the interview process. I will give you tips on what would work for your business in terms of videos. It's not we're holding your hand the whole way through it.
Yeah.
Essentially, because I want your videos and photos to be successful, and I want you to get you clients, because that means you're going to invite me back. So so it's a mutual process. So that's a big part of what we do as well.
Good. Rob, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been really interesting, welcome. And I'm sure that our audience will really enjoy listening to your processes behind the scenes, and how you can actually help. And I know you have already done some great work with some of my clients already. So
yes,
and that has been shared on our Success Club groups and
really?
mastermind groups. So I'm sure that there will be more business coming from that as well, because the little snippets that we got was fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much.